So here it is then, the long-awaited confirmation of continuation of the critically acclaimed and widely beloved series Mass Effect. It's been several years now since good old Mass Effect's reputation destruction for a 1-2 combination of the original trilogy's controversial ending, and also the average reception of the spin-off game Mass Effect Andromeda, and also the god-awful abomination Anthem, but the less said about that the better. Since all of these mounting and subsequent disasters, BioWare's reputation, I think, has just taken an absolute thrashing over recent years. Probably deservedly so, ultimately resulting in the Mass Effect franchise being put under indefinite ice. Well, it's time to thaw it right out, I reckon, because there is a remastered Legendary Trilogy on the way, as well as a new trailer teasing the future direction of this Mass Effect series, my favourite game series of all time. Just for full disclosure purposes. This video isn't going to be me just arbitrarily pointing out pretty obvious details and whatnot. I'm more going to be discussing certain key visual reveals and audio transmissions I found interesting, as well as primarily speculating on the future of the series, as well as what this game might very well be about. So without further ado, let's get this party started. It's 2021 now, baby. So right off the bat, we get a direct view of both the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy. I think this choice to show both galaxies was in essence to acknowledge the history of the franchise, but more importantly show the viewers as deliberately as possible that we are headed back to the Milky Way Galaxy for this next installment. Like the zoom in and the kind of build up all throughout the trailer, it all leads to worlds, events, debris, all relevant just to the Milky Way Galaxy, not Andromeda. I also don't think we've seen the last of Andromeda in the franchise, and I'll talk about that as well, but I think it's very clear they are trying to convey they are taking us back to the place where all our fondest memories and unforgettable adventures happened. These opening transmissions kind of catalogue the journey of the spacefaring portion of humanity's history, starting from man's first journey to the moon, and mentioning Arcturus Station, which was, if you've played the games, you know it is basically humanity's military stronghold for the Systems Alliance that guards the Sol system, the passageway to Earth, and also where they mobilize the fleet in the First Contact War against the Turians, which inevitably leads to humans having an intergalactic presence that is illustrated pretty well in the first game. There is also a mention of Arc 6 being away, but I'll get back to that a little later on. It's all kind of just a basic in-game historical recap in the beginning segments, but the first real interesting sight is the destroyed mass relay, and of course the iconic sound of the Reapers. It's unmistakable. That shot of the mass relay is a clear indicator this takes place after Mass Effect 3, as all the mass relays were essentially all damaged or destroyed at the end of that game. The familiar musical synths of Mass Effect are really noticeable and a welcome addition to me here in the final stages. We kind of see this undescriptive planet, just basic transport, nothing we haven't seen before. But it also leads us to the end with the biggest reveal. A lot of people have mentioned how you can see a downed Reaper in the background while Liara ascends, but I just wanted to add that if you look a bit closer, she's not actually traversing a mountain, she's actually walking on the remnants of a Reaper herself, a dead one. You can tell by the metallic structure of the thing that it's not a mountain, it's not a rock. And yeah, this final scene in the trailer is the most important. We see Liara find the famous N7 armor worn by Commander Shepard. If that doesn't bring at least a smile to your face, I don't know what will. Mass Effect and even BioWare fans haven't had much to cheer about in a long time, but the N7 armor and the reveal of Liara Tassoni, an aged Liara Tassoni I should say, is just awesome really. It's so good to see a familiar face, and that the franchise will continue with at least some of the characters that made it so immensely popular in the first place. So that's it, that's the trailer. It's not very long, but now I'm just going to kind of get into some of the speculation of what I think this trailer means for the future of the series, and, what the hell this game might be about. I'm a long-time fan of Mass Effect, so I certainly have some ideas. So here are some of my general thoughts and side notes. Way in the distance, at the end, you can see Liara has her own squad with her. People have speculated what race/species these companions are, and as far as I can tell, it is a human, a Turian, and a Solarian. I think them coupled with Liara is just basically representation of the 4 major council races. It's as simple as that, I believe. I also think it's quite clear that this game not only takes place hundreds of years after the original trilogy, but but I can also say with some confidence that, in my opinion, this trailer all but confirms that the Destroy ending is canon. I think it's probably the most popular one amongst the fans, plus it is the only one where Shepard manages to survive. The Reaper carcasses littering planets is what I think to be a pretty clear indicator that Shepard did what had to be done, and let their lifeless husks darken the skies of every world as they plummeted to their demise. Now, the N7 armor, I don't believe this is Shepard's for a second. I think that this is simply the remains of another N7 veteran that was probably fighting or tracking the Reapers on this unnamed planet, hence its proximity to the remains of the Reapers. She's probably just remembering Shepard and all the adventures they embarked on so long ago. I think it is also probable that Liara is finding relics of the Reaper War, perhaps leaving memorials on long-forgotten battlegrounds, similar to the archives she mentioned during the events of Mass Effect 3. I think it is also possible that Liara is finding new worlds to inhabit. It is unclear how much of the galaxy is still ravaged and what state the homeworlds of many species are currently. Now, at the beginning of the video I said we'd come back to this. There was an Arc 6 that was mentioned to be away. I think this is a direct reference to Mass Effect Andromeda, as that game primarily revolved around several arcs leaving the Milky Way galaxy and headed to settle Andromeda. I don't think this is actually a new arc like some others online have speculated. I think this might actually be a reference to the Quarian arc that was never seen but often mentioned in Mass Effect Andromeda. The reason why I think it is the Quarian arc is because it is the 6th arc. There was the Nexus, the Human, Asari, Solarian, and Turian arcs. The only one not accounted for is that of the Quarians. I know there is a novel that goes into some of the events of what happened, but I think BioWare may have had another plan entirely for its eventual destination. They have, creative liberty here now. They can do whatever they want. Perhaps they have information on the Kett Empire. Perhaps in this new Mass Effect we'll find out who sabotaged the Quarian arc and for what purpose. But personally I think that Andromeda will at least be mentioned and have some sort of impact on the story, as some employees at BioWare have said over Twitter. But by no means do I think we will be travelling to Andromeda or seeing much of it at all. The reason for that is I think BioWare, EA, and all the fans know this is kind of the last stand for BioWare. Their last few releases have been disastrous, and the brand loyalty and fan admiration has been rusted and rusted away. I think all BioWare has left is their flagship franchises, Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Hence why they are releasing these cinematic type trailers for both games. These trailers have no gameplay and sort of just show us vaguely where the future of both series are headed. These games are likely several years away at this point, and the reason I think they have been released now to the public online is to act as a morale booster for the company, as well as slowly building anticipation for some of their most popular and probably widely demanded releases. A lot of people still love Dragon Age and Mass Effect, I know I'm one of them. They have lost some serious staff recently, including Casey Hudson, who has been absolutely pivotal to the direction of ME, so it'll be interesting to see what will become of this game. I hope BioWare comes through, and you better believe I want this game to be good, and to return to the glory days, but I think it's fair to have a decent amount of skepticism at this point. All I know is I'm pretty excited for this game still, the return of Mass Effect, getting to see the Milky Way galaxy, and hopefully some more familiar faces again, not just Liara. I think the Destroy ending will be shown as canon, and I think this is set hundreds of years after Mass Effect 3, judging by the wrinkles on Liara's face. And I think this game will most likely be in some way about rebuilding the galaxy, almost acting as a metaphor for how this game could rebuild BioWare. I think it was wise to have the release of the remaster, the legendary Mass Effect trilogy before this, so it gets everyone, a lot of new players that haven't played through the original trilogy. It's been 8 years since Mass Effect 3. They'll get to experience that for the first time, and then they will be anticipating the next release as well. So I think the success of the legendary edition will undoubtedly help with the anticipation of this next installment, which is, I think they want the Legendary Edition to kind of revitalize the community. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the new Mass Effect so far. Do you agree with me? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to leave a like and a sub if you haven't already. But for now, I'll catch you on the flip side.